right, everybody, it is 4 o'clock. Let's get this party started quickly. Welcome, my name is Jean-Marc, J.M. Gadoury, and I'm guest hosting for Razor Steve Gillette, who is taking a well-earned vacation today. You have joined episode 24 of ZoomTRAK. Can you believe it? We've been doing this for 2 years, starting right now. ZoomTRAK is the monthly video conference exclusively live to NRail members. Here we bring you the latest news, podcasts, product announcements, tips and tricks, plus layout tours. Each episode is designed, produced, edited, and crafted for, by, and about our members. About 30 days after each episode, NRail shares this content for the world to experience on the NRail channel. What's the NRail channel? The NRail channel is the official home of the N-scale model railroading videos representing the world of N-thusiasts. It includes NTRAK, T-TRAK, Fremo N, and every form of modular train layout systems. So without further ado, today we're going to have a full slate of programming, including the first presentation called Zoom the Program, The Importance of Staying Current and How to Do So by Bruce Alcock. After Bruce is finished, we'll have a KATO product announcement by Jean-Marc. And then third, we'll have the NRail channel spotlight by yours truly. And fourth, we'll do Talkin' T-TRAK with Terry Moore. And finally, our feature presentation today will be the NMRA Meet the President with Gordy Robinson. All right, so without further ado, Bruce, you are on deck and ready. Take it away, sir.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to try and go through this pretty quickly. One of the things that we've noticed is that sometimes people have technical issues, and it turns out that those technical issues relate back to not having the latest copy. So problems very often go back to the version that's installed. The best policy is to update automatically, stay current. Once you decline an update, you'll need to update manually. So if possible, try and just accept the updates. And usually the updates are fairly innocuous. If you wonder what version you're running, there's a green shield that's on your Zoom window, and if you click on that, you can get a information screen that tells you information about the meeting. And if you click on the gear on the upper right hand corner, that will bring you to settings. And in the settings window, you now can go ahead and check information such as the version and check your updates. So if you under the general tab, if you go down on the right side to Zoom updates, you can go ahead and change that update channel. Fast is probably the best. So far, I haven't heard of any real problems with people going with the latest version. It says try the newest features and updates. Some people hesitate to go with the newest because they say, well, it's not really tested, but with Zoom, it shouldn't be a problem. And in fact, it is preferred. So what you want to do is go with fast, and then you want to verify your version. So while you're still in settings, scroll down to statistics, click on that, and that'll tell you on the bottom right hand side, you see it circled in red, the fact that we're running 5.11.4, which is the latest version. If you're running version 4 or whatever, you're going to have problems. So especially if you happen to be a presenter, it's really important to stay with the latest update. Manual updates, there are about 2 or 3 ways you can do that. I will post these. So I'm going to go ahead and post this on our website. So if you go to nrail.org, you will you will see a link to this, and you can go ahead and download this slide, and that'll give you the
generally, if you go to zoom.us/download, that will take you there. Okay. For mobile and iPad, it's the same thing. Oh, I guess I'm not sure what table it was. When in doubt, just do a manual install, and now we will stop sharing.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm not gonna ask if there is any questions at this point because we want to move on to.
Bruce, I suppose we could ask at least one question right now, and that is, if somebody forgot to mute themselves, how can we actively mute somebody in the process?
If you're not the host, you can't. You as a member cannot go ahead and mute somebody. So I just want to point out that before we go on to the KATO presentation, we're going to have Bill Meredith. Are you on?
Yeah, I'm here, Bruce.
Okay. Bill Meredith, I guess, is going to talk to us briefly about his NNW hopper kits.
All right. Well, we'll just do the old share the screen.
Yeah, welcome to the program, Bill. Tell
Thank
us about
you.
your hopper kits.
Thank you so much.
Yep, Bill, you're good to go.
All right. So my name is Bill Meredith. I own and run a company called Leadville Designs, which caters to a wide variety of markets from N scale to O scale, mostly O and 3, some P48, HO and S. It is my full-time job between that and custom building. So I'm here to talk about some of my N scale stuff. So in the last year or so, I produced the mostly photo etch components, which works really well in N scale because you can get incredibly fine detail. So CB&Q stock car, and now the Norfolk and Western H9 two-bay hopper. A couple of years ago, I produced some kits for the Norfolk and Western Poden Arrow, which I've got some pictures of. But the kits, for the most part, are etched nickel silver and etched brass. You have a choice. Now the hopper car is all brass, so there's also some custom brass castings that go into it to give you some weight, whereas the stock car has a 3D printed ABS underside, so the framework, and then everything else is etched on top of that. It's not single layer. It's quite often it's a sandwich of layers to give you multiple levels of detail. Like I said, the detail. If you you can see the picture of the stock cars and even the hopper cars. The stirrup steps are full scale thickness, and I have to hold them up to the light to see them. But they're nickel. And they're much harder than brass, so they hold their shape much more nicely. All the kits are fully detailed and come with a full set of lettering. So moving into the hopper, here you see the components. It has a component of 20 thou nickel silver, a component of 12 thou brass. These are etched, so you get the surface detail. All the rivets are there. The side girders just sandwich onto the side of onto the wider side of the car. That is the full width of the car. There are fold lines. They bend around. All the grab irons are etched in place, and is like I said, the detail. Even the ones that are freestanding are etched. And the thickness is pretty close to scale, probably about 9/1000 of an inch from top to bottom. You see the castings. So the castings were designed in 3D and then printed in a jeweler's wax and burnt out. So it's not subjected to the limitations of a two-part mold. So we can get all sorts of detail on the undersides, the insides. You can have holes in it. It works out really, really well, and it gives more weight to the car near the rails, and they're also designed for micro trains, trucks and couplers. The hopper car was designed from the Norfolk and Western Historical Society blueprints of the same car, along with the lettering. All the lettering was designed for the H9, and it's also printed in-house. So that's sort of the high-level view of the H9. Here are some of the instructions. Now, these images are done. I designed the car in a three-dimensional parametric CAD package, and I'm able to virtually assemble it to make sure that everything goes okay. And then I take snapshots of the images, and those go into the instruction sheet. Now, one thing I'll point out is that, if I may, the brake stand component folds. It's a single piece. It folds into a three-sided shape, and the grate is scale thickness. So it's really wonderfully detailed. The etchings really allow you to push the limits of what you can achieve from mechanical reproduction standpoints. And then you can see in the lower right, that's also from the instruction set, how the doors, the frames go together. And this is right from all the in-scale parts. The construction for one of these cars, depending on your experience, anywhere from say 2.5 to 4 hours. You can do it in an evening. There's not a lot of bending or folding or cutting. You cut the parts out. I've tried to make it go together as easily as possible, and everything sort of fits and folds. So the guesswork is kind of designed out of the final product. So that's the hopper. Here's just some of the images of the CB&Q stock car. Same idea. Now the picture in the lower left is from an original, or not original, but a previous iteration. Now I've got the door detail along with the runner detail. It's all etched in a separate piece. So the side itself is maybe a sandwich of 3 etchings at worst case scenario. So it does go together quite quickly. In the lower left, the right-hand image, you see the sidewall. So it folds, each end folds into a C. You get the end detail, and then you just layer the girders onto the side, and then the doors on top of that. Again, this kit also comes with a complete set of CB&Q lettering. Finally, in the N-scale product line so far is I have kits for the aero train, the Potent Arrow. These are, they come with American Limited Models core kits, and the sides are a sandwich. They're nickel silver. They're nickel silver, and there's a sandwich of 2 pieces. So you paint one component red, the outer piece, and then you don't paint the inner nickel silver, and that way you get a really nice stainless steel window rim appearance. The holes are pre-drilled for the grab irons. You do have to bend the grab irons for those cars that do need them. They come with the Shell scale decals, a full set, packaged by Shell himself, and the observation car is a little different because the side is one piece, so it comes folded around the ends. And there's a 3D printed roof end and a skirt end. So it requires a little bit more work on the back end of construction, but it does work out really nicely. And you also get a Aero decal for the drum head. So that's the Potent Arrow train set. There's 5 cars. You get your 58-seat coach, your dining car, your observation car, a locker car, and some other car which escapes me at this moment, but they're all there and ready to go right now. So that's kind of where we are. So I want to thank you guys for inviting me. I believe that N-scale is massively underserved. There's so much room for so many cool products, and with the emerging technologies and incredible advances in design and manufacturing, there's really no limit to what we can achieve.
Bill, thank you so much for coming on board and presenting to us today. And I think I could probably speak for a large majority of N-scalers. I personally have never put together a brass piece of rolling stock ever. So help me out here. If you're speaking to an audience of people who've never assembled their own car from brass, there's a certain level of intimidation factor I'm dealing with here. Where should we start? In your opinion, what product would be the best place to start for success?
Well, you mean from the stuff that I offer?
Yes.
The hopper car.
Hopper.
The hopper car, like I said, on average, three to 4.5 hours. There's no grab irons to bend or to shape. There's no drilling. It really goes together quite quickly. A little, some ACC, and you just take your time, and it does go together quite nicely.
Very good.
So that would be my recommendation.
Well, it looks like the instructions are fantastic. Very easy. I assume through your website we can interact with you too. If we had other questions and follow-ups.
Yes, of course.
Very good. Well, thanks for joining us today. If you want to release your screen share, and we'll move on to the next segment today.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
I see a question popped up. Web address, please. We will certainly provide that here in the comments and when we're through today. In fact, if you want to hang out for questions, we'll take questions and answers at the end of all the sessions today.
Of course, that'd be great.
Jean-Marc, are you ready to give us a product update from KATO?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me for this opportunity. And I'm gonna introduce our newest announcement of the N-Scale ALC42 charger. Can you see my screen?
Yes, looking good.
Good. Before explaining that, item descriptions, I brought some of my colleague Michael made a video, some explaining the features of some interesting features of this new locomotive. So if Bruce, if you could air that video, that's gonna be appreciated. At the first, I would show you the video, and then I'm gonna explain that each product's description. So would you start a video?
There in YouTube land. It's been a while since we've done one of these, and I figured what better time than with the introduction of our latest upcoming product, the ALC42 charger. This is one of our early samples. You can see this is unpainted. We have a sort of a partially painted shell here, so you can kind of see what you can be expecting. You've got the clear vent on the side. It's actually pretty intriguing what we're going to be doing. See if we can get this to focus. You may or may not be able to see. You can actually see the engine compartment in there, and you see this is fully clear. The actual grill will be printed onto the plastic, which will give it an incredibly fine level of detail. And I don't know how well it'll come through on this video, but you can kind of see it catching the light. The printing itself actually creates a 3D surface which will resemble the actual grill while still maintaining that see-through look. So the effect will be pretty cool on the final model. So, but yeah, that's just one of the things to look forward to here on the charger. This is an all-new design. Everything from the ground up is brand new, with the exception of like the circuit board and the motor. Everything else is new. We have a built-in speaker housing space in the fuel tank that can be accessed by removing this underframe. The underframe does run the length of the body. We've got a mechanism here, so you can take a look here. It does use the same circuit board as the ACS64. So those of you who are planning your DCC installs, if you're not going to get one of the ones that we do, there you go. An ACS64 decoder. Anything that will fit the ALC42. So appropriate. You can see here's the little engine compartment detail. Got a little textured lines on there for the vents. It is an offset motor, so the motor is not in the middle because we've got this here. So the motor is actually around here. So if you notice, you can see the flywheel there, but you can't see it on this side. It is a dual flywheel motor. It's just that the motor is pushed back a little bit, so the other flywheel is here. That does mean that this has a longer universal than this side. So the trucks, while they are the same, they do have different length universals. As you can see, we've got the trucks here. They do have two different lengths of universals. So the long one is on the rear, the shorter one is on the front. And the wheels have these little plastic inserts in them, which kind of let them reproduce the details of those wheels in real life. So they'll run nice and smooth. These are snap fit up into the body, so you don't have to worry about these breaking if you drop the engine. Well, as long as you don't drop it too hard. As you can see, they will just fit right up in here, supported by the standard leaf spring style electrical pickups, which give it its shock absorber construction, which will allow it to run nice and smooth on your layout. Nice little feature we have here, if you see this, you will be able to take one of our 11-211, 11-212 interior lighting kits and just push that in, and you may or may not be able to see, but this is a light tube which goes here that the lighting kit will illuminate, which will actually illuminate this interior cab section. So you will be able to see this light up, and hopefully I'll be able to get these on a piece of track and show you what that'll look like in a moment. Alright, I've got the ALC 42 on a piece of track lit up here, so you can see that lighting effect. You can see the rear lights are also on. You can also see the lights, the number boards, headlights, where all that'll be. So yeah, it's a very cool effect that is unique to the design of this engine, so we wanted to make sure that we were able to capture that. As I mentioned before, this is a completely new design. It's very intricate. The roof, this is a separate panel, this part is a separate panel. There's about 11 different parts that are making up this nose section here to give it that smooth, streamlined look with the windows just recessed slightly, but the flush lights, headlights, and number boards that'll be up here, all of which will light up appropriately when it's being operated. So the ALC 42 charger is scheduled to be shipping in December. It'll be available in individual versions in the Day 1 paint scheme, as well as in the NMRA Phase 6. In the future, I'm sure we will go to the Phase 7s as NMRA rolls out more of those. But 6 will be first out of the door. These will be available also in sets with superliners, viewliners as a little bundle. So if you're looking to pick up a modern Amtrak train, that'll be ideal. So thank you for watching, and go trains.
Wow, that's a great video.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
I think there's going to be some folks that have a very Merry Christmas coming in December 2022.
Yeah, and just okay. Okay, as Michael mentioned, we released not only the single locomotive, 4 kinds of single locomotives. We're gonna release this 4-unit set, 1 charger locomotive and 3 superliner cars in one set. That's gonna be that's gonna be the different load number of the charger, like a number 302. Other single units have 300, 303, and 304, and then in this set, there is another load number of the charger 302. So, if, the customer could purchase this set, they can enjoy the 4 different load numbers in the phase 6 scheme. As well as that set, we will produce that Superliner 6 cassette. It says that Superliner set, but it includes that Viewliner to baggage car and also Superliner to truncheon slipper with all the different load numbers. So the set style is slightly changed from the last time. Before the previous production, we produced just a 4 cassette A, B, but from this time, we're gonna change the configuration of the Superliner set with bookcase set. So, and as well as those sets, we release the Superliner single coaches with different new load numbers, and also we're gonna release the empty bookcase, like to contain the high-level passenger cars, which can contain not only Superliners but also the Santa Fe, El Capitan bi-level cars. So those kinds of high-level cars, this new bookcase will be released. And then, of course, slightly after that, we're gonna release the DCC version and also sound version of the charger. And this time for DCC, DigiTRAK decoders, as usual, will be used. But for the sound, the ZoomTRAK, we are newly trying to work with ZoomTRAK. So it's first time. It's first time to work with them in N scale. So we are very, very excited about that, working with them. And for those DCC and sound units, we set that pre-order deadline by the end of this month, August 31st. So, if you would like to, just contact favorite dealers and as soon as possible. And these would be very popular items. So, okay.
Yes, Junpei, you had 2 order deadlines listed. One was September 30 and the other was August 31.
Right. September end is the deadline for that regular DC items.
Okay.
Yeah. And because we need to order the decoders, the decoder manufacturers. So we set a month earlier deadline for the DCC and sound version. Okay.
All right. So the bottom line is, if you want that DCC with sound, act now.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, one thing, we also released a starter set with UniTRAK, like everything in it, like charger and 3 Superliners, and also UniTRAK and power pack, all in one set. So if somebody that to start a model train, just to introduce this, please introduce this starter set for this Christmas, okay?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Yeah.
Junpei, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your listening. We really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Will you be able to hang out with us until the end of today's session in case we have some other questions come up?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, either texting or asking me. That's fine. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and release your screen and we'll get ready to move on to our next segment.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. And I guess I am the next one up here, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see if I've learned anything from Bruce's presentation earlier. In July 2022, the Richmond area NTRAK had an extraordinary opportunity, beginning with marketing, advertising, promotion, and then an epic train show. Join us now for the promotional video, followed by an epic excursion. Model railroading is the little miniature world that you make in the palm of your hands. So for a lot of folks, it's all about being a kid. Well, for me, this is about being a kid again. You'll see in the various scales that we have to present an entire realm of worlds where people are going to focus in near and far. It's all in there. When a child walks up to a layout, just like this train is going by right now, and you're looking at it at eye level, you really think, wow, that looks so real. And that's where art meets form. The Trains, Trucks, and Tractors event, the Titans of Transportation, is a model railroad show surrounded by a museum full of trucks and tractors. I can't imagine a better combination of the titans of transportation where we're literally going to celebrate what it was that made America and makes America move. You absolutely want to check out everything that's in this show and might even ask yourself, how did it happen? The Keystone Truck and Tractor Museum received a donation of O-gauge equipment, thinking, why not? So they should have a train, maybe some flat cars with some tractors on it. And it didn't take long before I sat there and I said, can you imagine trains, trucks, and tractors? Oh my. Now, many folks in the Richmond area probably remember who Sailor Bob was. Sailor Bob's son donated his dad's personal home layout, and we are going to have that layout for the first time in a major public event. Obviously, the Keystone Truck and Tractor Museum, what a great venue, and if this is your first time to visit that museum, you're in for a real treat. We're going to have an O scale with the River City three-railers, and we'll have the HO scale, Virginia, Piedmont, and Central, and an N scale, the Richmond area NTRaK. And in addition, we're going to have the Rich Brick Lego City Model Railroad featuring Lego. And I think that the only player missing is you. I can't think of a more epic rest stop than the museum. All aboard! All right, so the sound is going to duck out, and for the remainder of this video of the month, I'm going to walk you through what you're seeing here. This is the town of KATO, built by RAN track member Tom Kaiser. And you're going to find some similarities here because many of the modules you're about to see were made by a small handful of members of our club. Tom Kaiser, most notably, is one of them. This layout was 30 feet wide by 60 feet long. And that footprint was easy for us to operate because it's operating with a one junction and 3 peninsulas, also known as balloons or return loops. This is one of those return loops coming back from Caton, declining from the green line down to the blue line. You're going to find that we deploy every single track for operations. Now, this was the trains, trucks, and tractors, and you see in this one shot, if you were to do a screen grab, we got it all in one shot. So this video is a reflection of a show that literally didn't exist on the 1st of July. The video presentation you saw at the beginning was a commercial that was filmed only 3 weeks before the show began. But when the show ended, more than 4,000 members of the public had come through the turnstiles in one of the most epic and successful shows that we've ever put on. And I believe that there's a whole lot of reasons why that success occurred. And I won't share all of those reasons today, but I want you to just enjoy this scenery that you're seeing. Joining our excursion in progress, we are right now on the module known as KATO, made by Tom Kaiser. This is the first of 3 peninsular return loops that basically makes what is known as an NRail 2.0 layout. We are now passing through a module set known as Labor Day Weekend, this being the Polar Caves, featuring Margaret's Candy and Crafts, Campground Christian Fellowship, Page's Pumpkins, Ye Old Grist Mill, Armin's Apples, and Charlene's Airbnb. These modules, originally built by John McGowan, featuring this McGowan's Pond, was refurbished by J.M. Gadoury. Now entering Kaiser's crossover, built by Tom Kaiser. This is a critical junction point where lines cross red, yellow, and blue. Adjoining the crossover is Kaiser's Creek, also made by Tom Kaiser. We will return for a closer look at the town of Overlook and Overlook Junction, but now let's look at 3Rock Industries. 3Rock was a club project involving Dave Beasley and Tom Kaiser, in which the red, yellow, blue lines were placed in tunnels underneath a green line industry. After leaving the 3-module outside corner known as 3Rock, we now enter Sand Hill, which is a lead-in module to the Powerhouse Bend return loop. Powerhouse Bend was built by Tom Kaiser, and as you can tell by all of the return loops, they are designed to bring the upper line green down to join either the red, yellow, or blue line. Tom's meticulous installation of overhead power lines is a signature of many of his module contributions. Our excursion train paused for water at Sand Hill, above Sand Hill Station, built by Tom Kaiser. Passing the green line 3Rock Industries, we can see the many examples of operational opportunities. We now return to the Overlook Junction, the town of Overlook, and the Overlook Industries. 4 modules, all built by Dave Beasley, with very specific and detailed operations in mind. Dave is also known for remarkable detail in the buildings themselves, weathering them, applying smoke to smokestacks, and having a real operational purpose. Dave Beasley also knew from experience with the Eastern End Lines that we needed plenty of yards and crossover opportunities to make our operations work. And so he built this 3-module set known as Hilltop Yard. Next up is Foley's Mill, also by Dave Beasley. We are now passing Brockport, New York, built by Earl Hamill. In addition to the return loops, it's also helpful to have a rise and fall from the upper level to the lower level main lines, and that's exactly what Bob and Keith did on the Bob and Keith module. Bob Thomas, president of NRail, and Keith Peterson both collaborated to do a great job, particularly with trees and other scenery. The third and final return loop is the Snake River Coal, made by Tom Kaiser. Probably one of the most scenically stunning modules within the NRail collection. Adios. NRail has left the building. In only an hour and a half, the room is almost clear. Shout out to Steve Stalnicker. He's our editor of the newsletter, and he is recovering in good form. Thank God for that. All right. Trains, trucks, and tractors. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to stop share. And sorry for the little snafus as we started off, but I'm going to keep things rolling here. So without further ado, we have today the next feature, which is called NMRA Meet the President, Gordy Robinson.
Thanks, Jean-Marc. Can I share my screen? And I don't have any fancy introductory music, but I do have a slide. I do have slides. All right. So so I just thought a couple of slides just to explain who I am, explain what the NMRA is if people are not familiar with the NMRA. That's the National Model Railroad Association, and then open to questions at the end if folks have any, or if anything burning comes up during it, then just stop me. It's not a problem at all. So let's get this thing moving. All right. So who am I? I'm Gordy. I am a master model railroader, number 680. That matters to some people. It's not something that I wear on my sleeve. If anyone's seen any of my tops, I refuse to have an MMR top because I'm just a normal person. But anyway, I have achieved it. I live in Orkney, which is in the United Kingdom, which for folk that are not familiar with the United Kingdom, if you go right to the very top, and then go again a bit further, that's where I live. So I live on a group of islands right off the north coast of Scotland. If folk want to get hold of me, you can anytime using my email address, which is just president@nmra.org. I've taken my phone numbers off here, but when you email me, I will email you back with the phone numbers in the US and the UK that you can get hold of me on. And my US number works in the UK, my UK number works in the US, etc., vice versa. So I'm pretty accessible. I try to be as accessible as I can. Although I warn you, if anybody phones between midnight and 6 in the morning, my wife answers and she doesn't appreciate it. So check your time zones on Google. It's not difficult. So who am I? I'm only 35. I feel old actually, but for the NMRA, that's quite young. For our hobby, sometimes that feels quite young, but that's really not the truth of it. There are a lot younger people than me in the hobby, probably on this call actually. I model in N and also HO and O, but predominantly in N scale. I model modern era N scale, older stuff in HO and O, although I did quite fancy those hopper cars earlier. But anyway, we always get, candy in the store, etc. So yeah, we talked about that. I'm a master model railroader. I did my cars, civil, electrical, scenery, volunteer, author, and official. My prototype interests are British, obviously British stuff. I'm British. I live in the UK. Particularly interested in the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway Company, which is a very old historic railway company from they ceased to exist just after World War I, with the government forced mergers in the UK after the First World War. But my father, when I was growing up, was the chairman, which is the British equivalent of the president. President is far too Republican for us British. He was the chairman of the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway Historical Society for a long time, a long period of my growing up. So I've been around that railway company for a long time. But my end scale is based around Wisconsin. I model the Wisconsin Southern, the Foxy, which is the new Watco Railroad that started up when they bought some of CN's trackage in Wisconsin last year. And of course, the CN on the ex-Wisconsin Central route. I'm in the British region of the NMRA, as you can guess from my accent, and I live in the Scotland and Ireland division, which is quite a big division. It's the whole of Scotland and the island of Ireland. So it's about 750 islands in my division. So if people think it's difficult to get together to have a meeting in person in Ohio or in Wyoming or in Nebraska, I can always one-up anyone. It's one of the most geographically challenged areas. Probably the only other equivalent would be take the whole of Japan and turn Japan into one single region of the NMRA or one division of the NMRA, and then try to all get together for a meeting on a Sunday afternoon. And some folk are going to have to leave for that meeting pretty early on probably Thursday morning. So it's a similar kind of geography, but not as well connected. And if anyone's interested, you can see about my modeling on Gordy.uk. So I am a bit of an open person, and folk that know me know that I am a bit of a joker. So I'm just going to put the elephant in the room out there. Of course, everybody knows that the NMRA hates N scale. Well, that's not really true, is it? Right? That is absolute BS. just at the moment in the national team, these are just I only went down to the top levels. There's the president is an N scaler, the vice president is an N scaler, the Eastern District Director is an N scaler, the Pacific District Director is an N scaler, the at-large worldwide director is an N scaler, the head of S&C is an N scaler and is also part of this group and is part of this meeting. Andy Zimmerman is well known to all of you. The IT manager, Speed Muller, is also an N scaler, and there are loads and loads of other volunteers at national, in the NMRA, at national and regional and divisional level that are N scalers. We do not hate N scale. So I'm going to explain how that's the case. I'm not saying that wasn't the case in the past. It may have been felt like that, but that is certainly not the case going forward. So our policies at the moment to support N scale. We ensure that ZoomTRAK, NRail, NTRaK, and FreeMoN are all national events and are well represented. That includes regional events and local train shows. It's always on our list of things that must be present if it's possible. FreeMoN recently, supported by the Ops Roadshow at the National Convention, provided people with the opportunity to not only experience model railroad operations for the first time, but also to do so in N scale and on a modular layout, which for a lot of people is not something they would otherwise have the opportunity to do unless they're a member of one of your clubs. So it's a big opportunity to showcase N scale. We'll be repeating that in Texas, hopefully next year at our national convention in Texas. I think because of the Evanston meet in 2024, we've made the decision at the moment to pursue a HO Fremo layout for convention in 2024, but that's simply just about time scales. It's only 2 weeks after Evanston, and it's probably a long way to trek everybody's modules and set them back up again, but that may change. And then any N scale or modular article or video would now go straight to the top of the publishing list for any of our national publications. So the NMRA puts out the turntable to all of our members, which is a e-newsletter full of videos from YouTube or other sites. That goes out every month. It just went out in the last few days for this month. And if we get an N scale video that's really good, that's put to the editor of that, he will put it in there. That is the instruction. Same for S scale, same for O scale. Any scale that is not predominant, majority represented in the NMRA will go straight into any of our publications. So that goes the same for modular and for N scale. And at the moment, we're working in our publishing department as to whether we can have a regular column about modular railroading in the NMRA magazine. So, we do support modular railroads. We're not elitist, and we do support N scale. And if anyone has any experience of that being not the case in the last year and wants to let me know, I appreciate finding out about these things. And people tend to get phone calls from Gordy in the middle of the night their time, but they deserve it. So what has been happening at the NMRA? Well, there's a lot of things that have arrived in the last year. There's a lot of good work been done. We purchased at the beginning of this year a piece of software called SurveyMonkey. We did that so that we can actually, rather than making decisions on what we assume our people want in the hobby and our members, we actually ask them now, which is useful. We've done a few surveys as well that we've shared with manufacturers, and this is something that's becoming a bit more well known. If it's to aid and improve the hobby, then we will do a survey on it. We did one on LCC, on layout command control, our new layout control system that the NMRA has developed. But we're happy to do other ones as well on behalf of manufacturers or on behalf of sections of the hobby. We've done a lot of work to increase transparency. Gordy's very visible. I attended so far this year 38 different NMRA division meetings, as well as a few regional ones and a few other events such as this one, just to give the opportunity for people to give us feedback and also to let people know what's going on, because sometimes I'm in the tent a lot and you're outside the tent potentially, and it's difficult to see what's going on inside it. So it's nice to have the opportunity to talk about it. We also updated our beginner guides. One of the things we want to do as the main education not-for-profit in the hobby worldwide is to educate people about model railroading and improve their enjoyment of the hobby. So we recently updated our beginner guides. Now, this is going to sound, hopefully, to most of you like common sense, but common sense is not something that is in abundance in the world anymore. We did is we've updated these before, but we never got somebody who wasn't a model railroader to proofread them. And that was an interesting experience. So having a non-railroader read things and go, I don't know what this abbreviation means. I don't know what this word means. You've completely lost me. And when it came to electrical, it took a long time, as I'm sure you can all imagine. What's this blue wire and white wire thing? What's this T-track module? Why can't all the wires be blue? Lots of really valid questions that we hadn't even thought about. Then we also introduced member recognition actually at 2, 5, and 10 years. One of the key things with the NMRA is for a long time, members have been members of the NMRA and we haven't been adding new people. But those people that we have added tend to join at about 65. Now, that's something I would like to change, but that is the fact of it. That means if in our current or previous recognition scheme, you would get recognised at 90 years old for 25 years membership of the NMRA. And if you wanted the 50-year award, which was the next one, then you can do the math. You would have been 115. And most of us have completed our layouts at 115 and gone on to the big railroad in the sky. So probably not the best of ideas. So we went and had a look at how long the average member stays with us, and it's about 12 years. So we've introduced recognition for members at 2, 5, and 10 years. It's just the right thing to do. We've also uploaded back issues of the NMRA magazine to our website. So if you're a member of the NMRA, you can log in, go to NMRA back issues in publications, and you can see all of the issues going all the way back to the first typed bulletin of the NMRA after the first NMRA convention in 1935. Now, yes, if you go and look at that, there is a lot of HO. But there's also a lot of really, really good history there about the hobby, really good history about different railroads, little buildings of railroad, drawings of buildings of railroads that just don't exist anymore that you can use in your modeling, track plans, articles by some of the greats in the hobby. And if you're an NMRA member, it's all free and available to you, and you can download it and print it and do whatever you wish with it. So that's been a really good resource that we've added. We also launched the NMRA digital magazine. So the NMRA magazine is now available digitally. To anyone in the world, if you're not in Australia, but that's a different story. But it's available to anyone in the world. There's an NMRA app in the App Store, both in the Apple iOS store and also in the Google Play Store. And you can go there, download the magazine, use your NMRA email address and log in. And you'll have access to the entire catalogue of NMRA magazines back to October 2020. Oh, just let me just say night-night to my daughter. Hang on, just a sec. Okay. Night. Okay, good girl. Night. Yeah, did I mention I've got 2 children under 3 years old while I'm doing all this busy stuff? And then we also launched e-ballots worldwide to increase participation in our democratic process. So lots has been happening. All that's been delivered in the last 12 months. There's even more coming. So we're working at the moment on tools and resources to help special interest groups, organisations like yourself, organisations at a local level in the NMRA to be successful. So we'll soon be launching a division success kit, which includes templates and promotional materials for train shows, how to do conventions, loads of really interesting stuff, and a diktat in there that you must include NRail of some description, etc., all the good stuff you guys would hope I would put in. So that'll be there, and that'll be on our website in the next few months. We've just restructured our S&C department, which Andy Zimmerman is heading up, as we mentioned earlier. And that's now got 71 volunteers working within it. So that is one of the biggest volunteer departments in the NMRA, if not one of the biggest groups of volunteers working together on a single project worldwide in the whole of the hobby. We'll be upgrading the NMRA website because, to be quite frank, it's a bit poor and it's old and it's outdated, but we will be upgrading that, and we've enlisted some professional help from Florida State University to do that. The NMRA Interchange we'll talk about a bit more in a minute, but it's a worldwide global communication tool for NMRA members and for clubs and for groups and for divisions to work together and work on stuff. But I'll talk about that in just a couple of slides. We've also revised our at-risk persons policy. This is protecting young people. It's nothing that some people get very upset about this, but it's really nothing that you wouldn't do already. It's basically we need to make sure that people keep young people safe by knowing who's responsible for that young person when they do what my daughter does and run underneath the layout and knock their head on the module. So, really important, just the basic stuff that we do, but given the size of our organization, we need to actually put it down in writing. We'll be launching an online education program for model railroading in the spring of 2023. That's going to be really exciting. There's lots of opportunities for everyone around the world, including manufacturers, to get involved in that and teach people about our great hobby. And all the way around, we'll be continuing to improve the transparency of how the organisation works, what we do, and making the national team of the NMRA more visible and more accessible to every single group that's out there. So the future of the NMRA, it's a lot about innovation. It's a lot about learning what's in the art of the possible, growing as our organisation, and sharing what we know with other people. So really positive stuff. Just briefly, some of the benefits, if you're not aware of these, you are maybe a member, you may not be. I'm not going to read all the slides. I'm just going to call these out. You can read yourselves. But of course, we do have our achievement program. You can work towards becoming an MMR. We mentioned the digital magazine. We're going to go on to the partnership program in a minute, and other member discounts. But we also have lots of events that go on at a local level, and I'm sure some of you are members of one of our local NMRA divisions. So here is the NMRA digital magazine. I love it. I love it. It's, as I say, it's available on a web browser. It's available on your cell phone. It's available on your tablet. So you don't need to go and buy a tablet. Most people are attached to their cell phones now. As you can see in the middle image there, it changes the readable view of the text. So it goes into flowable text automatically. So you read it like a Kindle, if anyone's used to reading electronic books, rather than trying to zoom in and zoom out and zoom in and zoom out. And before you know it, you're doing a barn dance. In, out, or a Scottish Ceilidh, all right? It just doesn't work. No one wants to be playing river dance whilst trying to read a magazine, all right? But it's really good. And if you are an Android user, because you don't, like me, appreciate fruit-based technology, the Android app will actually read the magazine to you, which is fantastic for those of us that can't be bothered to read. So it's great. It actually reads it to you. The voice is a bit, I've suggested that my president's column should be done in my own voice, but people do tell me that when they read it with my accent. So it's good, but unfortunately we haven't got the voice technology quite where we need it to be. So I mentioned the partnership program. There are now over 50 NMRA partners that if you are an NMRA member, you can get a discount at. Now, it may be a discount on one product. It may be a discount on multiple products. So just calling some of these out, and I do not get sponsored for which ones I call out. But if you go to Micromark, you get 15% off because you're an NMRA member. If you go to CMR Products, who make, or used to, currently they've got lumber issues, but they used to make module kits for N-scale modules, you get at least a 10% discount. There's also here the USA airbrush supply, which is Badger airbrushes. You get a whopping 45% off a Badger airbrush. I mean, you can't get that anywhere else, guys. 45% is amazing. The N-scale architect as well, remember the myth. Don't let facts get in the way of a good story. The NMRA hates N-scale, and that's why we've got at least 2 or 3 N-scale only manufacturers sitting on this list. So, we do love N-scale just as much as anything else. So you can get your membership back from the NMRA in just a couple of orders really, really easily. I love this. This is one of the best things that we've ever done, and we keep adding to it. You see N-scale works there, the N-scale architect. It's really good. Mini prints, although it says min prints there, it is mini prints. So what are we working on? I don't know if there's somebody talking in the background. I don't know if you want to mute, but anyway, it doesn't matter if you don't want to. I'll talk over you, it's fine. So one of the things that we're really looking at is trying to get the NMRA to push forward and look at how we can grow, how can we be bigger. And some of you are going to think, Gordy, you're a lunatic, but that's absolutely fine because my wife tells me that on a daily basis. But we're looking at what the problems that we're trying to solve within the NMRA is. Not the problems that necessarily we face today, but let's look at what would the problems be if the organization was 10 times bigger, and then work back at to how we make the NMRA 10 times bigger than it is. That would at the moment be about 155,000 members worldwide. There are way more than 155,000 model railroaders. KATO has way more than 100,000 customers. There's millions of model railroaders worldwide. Model railroading is the second biggest hobby for men in the United Kingdom after fishing, only topped by fishing. Now, in the United States, you, of course, have things that go pop and bang, and they're quite popular. We don't have those kind of things. We don't need them anymore. But we do have other hobbies. But model railroading, I would say, is not far behind in terms of its popularity in the United States. And if NMRAX has told us anything, it's that there are model railroaders hiding under every basement or under every house in every basement around the country. So we can definitely be 155,000 members strong, but what would that look like? That would look like 10,000 master model railroaders, 50,000 people participating in our AP program, experts all over the place, a total diversity in scales, a massive social connection with people and fellowship around the world, absolutely defined core standards for all gauges and all scales in all areas of the world. We would be the go-to source because we already are the biggest education provider that's not for profit in model railroading, but we would be bigger beyond anything else. We would absolutely be able to ensure the imagination of the next generation was captured, and ultimately we would be building more model trains to be better human beings. So we really at the NMRA believe that this is possible, and we really would encourage people that are not on board to come on board and help us make this a reality in all scales, not just one or two. We really want to represent everybody around the world. So, talking about representing people that are underrepresented, we've just launched the Women in Model Railroading Special Interest Group. No longer is it really the case that women's role in the hobby is to make the tea or the coffee or go and buy the hot dogs and the buns, right? That has gone out with the arc. We launched this, I got back in the UK, my dad picked me up from the airport because I had a layover in Manchester of about 12 hours. And the first thing he said to me in the car is, I really like what you've done for the women. We had this same problem in the 70s and it's taken this long to fix it. And what is the problem that we're trying to solve? The problem that we're trying to solve is give people a place of belonging and empower them, empower people to do what they want to do in the hobby and take forward leadership roles to deliver better activities and better experiences for everybody. And this is exactly what we're doing. So if there are any women in your life or in your modeling world that are model railroaders that like to hide in the background, then they can join the Women in Model Railroading SIG. If they're front and center, they definitely have to join. It's absolutely going to cost $0 to join, and it's a big community that we're building there online and around the world. So please, I encourage people to go check that out. It's available on the NMRA website under the special interest groups. So we talked a little bit earlier about the NMRA interchange, and there's a reason that there's a train there and there's a love heart, because we all love trains. And there are thousands and thousands of people that love trains. And one of the real big benefits of COVID, there's not been many, but one of the big benefits of COVID for me is we set up a room for the NMRAX team that we can just drop into any time. It's not like a Zoom call where we have to set it up. We just jump in there and have a chat and discuss something and plan something and do something crazy, because that's what we like to do. You might probably notice that if anyone's watched NMRAX series on YouTube, we like to push the boundaries and do exciting things. So this is what the interchange is. I'll go into this. Effectively, it is a member communication system for the NMRA, for model railroaders all over the world. It's a continuous conversation. It's a continuous chat. There'll be areas where people can have text chats about different topics all over the world. Every NMRA member will have access to them. There is also what we call hangout rooms, what they're basically video rooms, which are available 24/7. So imagine effectively an online NMRA town hall or conference center that's available 24/7 whenever you want it. You could move your NRail meeting into one of these rooms and say it's going to be whatever day we're on, the third Sunday of the month at 9 o'clock British time or whatever, and it's going to be here. And it's going to cost you absolutely nothing. No one's going to need to have a Zoom license. It's there. And people can go in, and we can have up to 200 people in one of these rooms. And we can have as many of these rooms as we want for as long as we want for absolutely nothing. So it's a real massive benefit for the NMRA. Also, what we're doing is how we're using the interchange at the moment in its test phase is we're putting our own teams and project teams into here so they can work together. What's really cool and how this differs from a forum is that when you go back into it, so say you were to click on to one of those options there, that learning car cards, for example, and you've not been there for 6 months, it will start you where you left off, and you will start reading down from there. it'll tell you that there's been 16 posts since you were last here, or 60 posts or whatever, and you can start reading where you left off. So it doesn't like go to the latest thing. So like if you go on Facebook or social media, apart from the fact that Facebook doesn't like our HO colleagues, because every time you put HO last Christmas, they put you in 30, ho, 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 30 days in Facebook jail. Okay. See, they never picked on N-scalers because really Mark Zuckerberg is an N-scaler. But you can get onto here and you'll be able to see what's going on, and the NMRA control it and we moderate it. And it's totally free for the benefit of all of our members. So it'll be coming in autumn. We're looking at putting some of our pilot divisions. We're looking at putting some of our pilot divisions into there in pilot groups out with the national team probably in September. And the plan is to launch this before Thanksgiving. Otherwise, the turkeys get a presidential pardon and the IT team get put on the table. So they're aware of what the risks are to them, but they will definitely have this up and running by Turkey Day, not a problem. So we talked as well about the education program. So I really believe in never stopping learning. I either by learning something ourselves or by sharing something with others. I strongly believe that it's something that's really important to me. One of my biggest memories as a teenager was sitting there and learning and being taught by the older people in the group that are no longer here. That's unfortunately at the moment the majority of our people, which also is a huge opportunity. It gives me a huge pool of people to teach. So we've been working on this project, this online project for a few months, as you can see. We're looking to put out a pilot to test our technology in the fall. We'll be recruiting volunteers to teach in the program and to run the program in the winter of 2023. Training of those people in the spring, and we'll be launching it before the national convention next year, where people will be able to go and do online model railroading education provided by the NMRA, as long as you're an NMRA member. Or if you're not an NMRA member, we are working on a way that people can contribute to the cost of the program and take part in some courses. So far, you think Gordy's a lunatic? 140 people have agreed to teach in this program already, and I haven't even told people about it yet. So it's huge. I think it's absolutely what people want. I know it's what our manufacturers want. I know that people that make products would love to show people how to use their products, would love to have the ability to teach people what their products do and learn more about it. And this is really what this is going to give you. And it's going to take the experience of being an NMRA member to a whole new level. And other people can go off and do their own thing. NTRaK could go off and create their own online learning, but we are better if we work together. So, the invitation is open there to bring everybody together and use the one system. It saves on a lot of brain power anyway. So just to recap, the benefits of being a member of the NMRA, we've got local divisions all over the United States and some around the world. We have massive archives that you have access to, including a huge library at the California State Railroad Museum. We have our achievement program, which thousands of people take part in every single year. We have conventions at regional level across the United States and around the world, and also our national convention, which just took place a week or so ago in St. Louis, Missouri. For those in the United States, we provide you with insurance for your models, both at home and in transit and on display. We provide education, and we're going to, obviously, just heard, significantly improve or increase the level of education that we're providing and where we're providing it. We maintain standards of conformance in the hobby. Ask any of the manufacturers whose standards they use, and they'll tell you they use the NMRAs. That's not new, and that doesn't mean, don't be under the illusion that the standards were written years ago, because there's new models all the time, there's new innovations. We've just had a fantastic display there from KATO. There's loads of new innovations there for KATO I see in that product. And everybody's always innovating, everyone's always trying to do something better and greater for model railroaders. Otherwise, why would we be in business? So that's what we're trying to do, and we're trying to support them as best we can, hence why it's one of the biggest teams in the NMRA, and it's one of the unsung heroes of what we do. We also have an NMRA calendar. You can submit to it. I would love to see more N-scale in there, hint, hint, hint. And we have the NMRA digital magazine with more online digital content coming through that soon. And again, like I say, we're working on trying to find columnists to put together a modular railroading column and a few other things in the next 12 months. We have our partnership program. We're constantly adding new partners to that. If anyone who's on here has a product and you wish to offer a discount to NMRA members, then get in touch. We will gladly add you to the program and promote you and everything else that we do there. We get the NMRA partnership program is in all of our publications, and as a reminder for people. And we also do spot advertising, etc. And we charge absolutely nothing for that benefit. NMRAX continues to be out there. And for those that don't know what NMRAX is, I've mentioned it a couple of times. NMRAX is our online virtual convention that's similar to ZoomTRAK, has been running completely free on YouTube for the last 2 years. We've got now over 400 hours of clinic content and educational material on YouTube on the NMRA site that's absolutely free and available to everybody. But we also deliver this content live with the ability for people to ask questions on a quarterly basis. Now we had to kind of wind it down a little bit because the folks that are delivering that content are also delivering all those other programs as well, and time and volunteers are limited. And we offer other NMRA member discounts on a local level. You may well find, if you're a member of your local division, that all the local hobby shops or some of the local hobby shops will offer you a discount just because you are an NMRA member. It's something that Hobby Lobby quite often do. I know Hobby Lobby don't necessarily carry a huge model railroad in stock, and usually it's not this scale, I'll say that, but they do have loads of other exciting stuff that you can use for modeling, and if you get a discount, who cares? Discounts are discounts. So that's just a quick overview of the benefits of being an NMRA member. So I will stop my sharing and hope that was useful.
Gordy, all I can say in reaction is you are the right man at the right time. And I can underscore that by saying one of the comments that came in a few minutes ago, someone asked, do you interested in running for president of the United States?
Well, unfortunately, I'm in the UK. And I think, I think a few hundred years ago, you decided British rule wasn't a good thing. But hopefully people are changing that opinion.
Well, you speak very volumes for yourself and for the organization. And there's been a number of questions coming in the chat as you've been talking, many of which have been addressed. And I think that I'm going to ask you one summary question. Out of all of the things that you could join within the NMRA today, so many activities, what would you like to see this group? What would you like to see happen from the NRail organization's membership in response to your talk today?
I would love to see this community promote itself through our publications more. It's an area that there's an open door. There's zero resistance. So go through the door and help yourselves and help us, because I know how much good work's being done here. I see it, I see it. And a lot of the guys on this call, a lot of you on this call are NMRA members as well. And I see the contribution you make to our organization every week, but we still don't see enough coming through. And I know it's easy to say, I want to publish my thing in NRail Enthusiast because that's where my audience is all N scale. Absolutely. But don't be under the illusion that a quick article, quick extract, quick summary of your article, quick abstract is not also valuable to all the N scalers in the NMRA. And I really appreciate everything that everybody does, but that would be the one thing. And I think for yourselves personally, the NMRA is a member organization just like NTRAK is. You only get out what you put in. There's no way I can't change that. I wish I could guide people on the path and hold everyone's hand to be more involved. And I understand that we're introverted by reputation. Model railroaders are an introverted breed of people, but really the connections and the social aspects and the people that you will meet and the things you can learn from being a member of the NMRA, I don't think you can get as much volume of that anywhere else. And I really would encourage you, if you do join the organization, to come along to some of our events and activities and really get involved, and you will get benefit from it.
Gordy, I will say this, that what you have achieved, mission accomplished, is making us feel welcome today. And I know we're going to have a ton of questions, but I want to kind of narrow this down. We have an organization that has a president and a secretary, and I'd like to open the door right now to John Wallace or Bruce Alcock. Would you guys, in front of everyone, like to interchange at all with Gordy? What questions would you like to ask or hear him speak to?
Well, first of all, Jean-Marc, I have been a member of the NMRA for 52 years. So I'm familiar with a lot of what Gordy talked about, and I'm glad to hear him say it to us. So some of what he's doing there, we should really join in on. And, we give a lot more manpower than just us, and we can make it work for everybody.
Bruce?
Well, one thing that I think we should try and do is approach the editor and provide an NRail column for the magazine as a way of opening up communications. Would that be possible?
Yeah, just drop an email to pubs@nmra.org
Okay.
rather than to the editor, and the head of publications will definitely make that happen for you. Because the reason I'm saying the head of publications is because I think there's some other stuff we can do as well. It's not just about writing the column in the magazine. We have now the ability to add videos with our digital magazine that can go out and showcase what's happening in the NRail community. So yeah, reach out to pubs@nmra.org, and Riley, our head of publications, will help you get to everybody that you need to.
Great.
All of the editors.
Gordy, as we've just kind of come toward the conclusion, and we are running at an hour and 24 minutes. Mostly, I think that's probably my fault. It usually is. But your presentation was astounding today, and we really appreciate you for that. I want everyone to know that if you open up the chat window itself, most people don't realize this, but when we save all the files from a ZoomTRAK, including the video itself, we actually keep all of the comments from the chat. It's a separate file. So we'll have the ability to share the information that's there, including web links and other comments and questions. I've noticed most of the questions have been answered as we've gone, even going back to the Leadville designs with Bill Meredith, and also from Jean-Marc with KATO. But does anyone else, apart from the chat that's already out there, have any questions for anyone who made a presentation today? Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask away.
I do for Gordy. Gordy, we met at Kirkwood train station. I was responsible for bringing N-Scale to the National Train Show with T-Track and N-Track. And I hope that the business model of the National Train Show can treat layouts a lot more kindly, because we're not manufacturers and we're not vendors. We can't afford to buy tables. We can't afford to pay for chairs and all the other rules that we have to comply with.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. This year was not within my gift to make changes. Next year is a bit more in my gift, and changes will be made. The year after is absolutely in my gift, and I'm already looking into it and we're working on it. We've set up a small subcommittee of the national team to look at what that looks like. We're also looking at beefing up our meetings and trade show team. But absolutely, I understand. I think people don't really realize that I come from a manufacturing family's background. My father manufactured brass O-scale kits. I was at train shows from being 4 years old, and I totally appreciate how important layouts are. And in the UK, layouts are much more front and center than they are at US shows. And so I really have a different take on it, Glenn. But yeah, it is in hand. It will be dealt with, and there will be some changes being made to the way our national train show works before the end of my first term as president, which is 2024.
Gordy, thanks for tackling that. And Glenn, thanks for the question. Anyone else? Maybe 2 more questions since we're now approaching an hour and a half.
All right. Hey, Gordy. So I understand your S&C chair is a bit of a jerk, but no, I'm kidding. So I just wanted to.
I second that, Andy.
No, there you go. Thank you very much. All right. If you could, if anybody does need any assistance, need any help getting into any of these areas, whether it's talking to the publisher or the editor or anything else, if you just you can't find, or you don't find yourself in a place to do it, reach out to me as a fellow club member, as a fellow NRail member, and I will be happy to get you in touch with those people and make that connection for you.
Thanks, Andy.
Great offer, Andy. All right, one last question. Anyone else have something burning you want to ask?
Yes, I have a question for Japai.
Okay, Evan, go ahead.
Do you guys of KATO know the status of the N-scale big boy? And is it just going to be the oil burning 4014?
Status. Yeah, we are progressing the designing right now. So hopefully we're gonna make the announcement in November or December, late this year. Yeah.
Are y'all making the coal burning versions from the 40s and 50s? No.
No. We are strictly stick with 4014.
Okay.
The modern one. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for the question, Evan. Jumpai, thanks for answering.
Thank you very much.
That brings us to the end of our Q&A period. I wish we could go on forever. Honestly, right now, guys, we have 68 participants. I saw a high of 86, so we're hanging in there.
The high was 91, Jean-Marc.
Yes, Jean-Marc was 91.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's outstanding.
JM, can I add one quick thing?
Go ahead, Bruce.
Offer Terry Moore a big thank you for giving up his spot today so that we could get done in a fairly reasonable amount of time. So thanks,
Absolutely. Terry Moore, I know you work hard on the ZoomTRAK blog, and it doesn't go without notice on my part since I probably rolled right through your segment today. So I apologize for that. But we'll look forward to hearing you next month, which, with that said, next ZoomTRAK, guys, mark your calendars, is going to be September 17th. That's the third Saturday in September, September 17th. And look for your emails, just the same way you heard about the meeting today. Before that happens, obviously, middle of the month, we'll see the recording of this ZoomTRAK made available to the world. And I think that with Gordy's presentation to us today, I think we all can kind of, as we're entering what we refer to as model railroad season, full of shows and festivities, we can all take the goodwill, the cheer with us and spread the gospel, so to speak, of model railroading in N scale. We know it's the best that's going. We have personal experience. So thank you so much, guys. I guess we're going to be signing off now. Bruce, have I forgotten anything?
I don't think so. You did a good job. Thanks.
Yep. Thanks very much, Jean-Marc.
Thank you very much. Thanks for everything y'all do.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate the invite, you guys. If we maybe later in this year we'll give you another update. Thank you.